Welcome to Common Unity. I'm Jason Fox.
And I'm Dr. Gabriel Lewis. And we are bringing the community together with a common unity.
Better keep this in silent. Not that I get calls.
You're busier than me, mate, and I'm in sales. All right, so welcome back. Today we've got a young Māori boy from Taupo that I first saw at 16 years of age. I was a BMXer for many years. You probably heard that in a couple of podcasts. Never any good at it, and I went to this competition with all the pros that I looked up to, and this young boy sat there in front of everyone and stomped a backflip tail whip. This is at a time that backflips are actually a huge trick, and everyone went, "Who the heck is that?" And then from then, I became pretty good friends with this guy. He's known by a few by the Warrior, others by Jedi because it's closely aligned with his name. But we'd like to welcome Jed Mildon to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Sure.
Welcome.
I love introductions.
Yeah.
You always make it sound so much cooler.
Have you ever come to think to realise maybe I am kind of cool? Who knows?
Who thinks they're cool?
Nobody.
He's literally blushing, so it's quite cute.
I've got to wipe my nose in my glove.
So today we're here to tell a story of what many people and young kids grow up and I want to be a pro skater, pro surfer, or this guy's actually made a career out of exactly that, riding a kid's bike, 20-inch BMX, and what a story it's been, and something to follow.
Bit of a trip, eh?
I reckon.
I always say now, like, careful what you wish for, because it really does manifest and come true.
Yeah.
And my wish was not to be a pro BMXer or a pro rider. It was literally just to have fun every day. Like, I just want to, like, from 14, from child even, like, before the teen years, like, making huts and playing with all the kids in the neighbourhood and, you know, making little ramps and jumping them and and then finding BMX. I grew up playing rugby, like, but it was all the same kind of thing. It was just want to have fun and just play outdoors, like, and then fast forward. Well, I'm 35 now, so fast forward 20 years from kind of like 14-year-old Jed. It still feels the same.
Because you had to make the hard decision when you were younger, because you went to Auckland Grammar from memory?
Sacred Heart.
And your first 15, you made the call to ride the bike rather than the rugby at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, I played first name when I was 14 in Taupo, fourth form, which is kind of rare.
Yeah, it's very rare. What position were you playing at?
Lock and flanker.
Yeah.
And my first game was against this American team, and they were like 100-kilo dudes. I'm like 14-year-old, I'm a fourth former. Yeah. I was petrified. And then kind of felt like I'd clocked school. no one to go to school. Like, that's what I felt. I was like, because that was the pinnacle. Like, mate, first 15, I made it second year at school. So I was like, and then decided, asked my parents if I could go to boarding school. They're like, huh? What? Why? I'm like, I just want to go. And like, where do you want to go? And I'm like, well, my next door neighbour goes to Sacred Heart. Why don't I go there? Because I know someone. Yeah. And then, made the team that year at that school. And the next year I didn't want to go back because they wouldn't let me have my bike. And I was getting passionate about BMX at the time.
Yep.
And every weekend that I had free, I'd get on a bus and do the 5.5-hour bus trip from Sky City back to Taupo on a Friday night, get there at midnight, and then I'd have all Saturday to go to the skate park with my friends. And then come Sunday, midday, I had to get back on that bus and do another 5.5-hour ride back to Auckland. So I really only got it like a day, because the half a day the next day wasn't really a day. But then come sixth form year, I didn't go back, and I was like, I'm going to re-enroll back in Taupo because I really want to ride bikes. And then they, because it was it was a Marist Brothers school, like Catholic boarding school. So then Brother John rang, and I answered the phone. Oh, I don't know if I should say this on here.
You'll be fine, mate.
It's all right. They're not going to listen. But then I said that my parents couldn't afford it. I was like, why? Where are you? Like, why aren't you coming? Like, why aren't you here? I was like, parents can't afford it. Right, because I'm the eldest of 6 kids. And then he's like, okay, fast forward 2 days, 3 days, mum answers the phone, similar time of the night, and Brother John, and then Brother John, and mum just started burst into tears. And then hung up the phone, looked at me, and he's like, "Oh my God, why'd you lie? Like, you told them we couldn't afford it." And I was like, "Oh, well, I didn't know what else to say, Mum." Like, all right, I didn't know what else to say. And she's like, "Well, you got a decision to make now because they just said they're going to pay for all your schooling." Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh shit! All right." So then I got back on no word of a lie. Got back on the phone, rang him, and then said, "Thank you, brother. That's really nice. Okay, I'll come back to Sacred Heart, but I just have one condition, please. Can I please have my bike?" And they're like, "Yeah, you can have your bike." And they gave me this key to the dungeon that no one else could go into, and I had the key, the access to
the Holy Grail down there.
Yeah, I had the access to it. And anyway, fast forward 9 weeks, I won Top Kiwi in XF.
Yeah.
That was the year of the flip whip.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then they were just like, "Oh, well, that's what you do." Like, yeah, that's what I do.
You're no joke.
This is what I love to do. And yeah.
So what
Rest is history.
point did you kind of think, at what age did you think I could actually turn this into a thing?
Oh, well, I don't feel like I ever thought of turning it into a thing. I just knew that I really loved it, and I just wanted to do it. That's like, back to the question before, I just wanted to do it every day, you know? So
for
that was,
long as you could.
Yeah, well, so then that's the whole careful what you wish for thing, because I really did wish for wanting to ride bikes and be that child making huts in the neighborhood, you know, like playing with friends and just doing cool things. And it's no different now. Like, you know, right before this podcast, I had that phone call with my new employees, because I'm, you know, the athlete development manager, with one of the best skateboarders in Australia, like finding out ways of him getting over here. It's no different. Yeah. You know, it's like, that is like what I wish for. I wish to be in this position, but I didn't know this was the position that was available.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So I haven't seen you since you started spinning in the air more times than some. You know, so we were close mates. We used to taxi you back from Taupo quite a lot. We were saying earlier, I actually made the first DVD that Jed featured in, which is basically all around Jed, because he was the best rider out of all of us by a long shot. But, you know, what went through your head when you thought, I'm going to build the biggest jump I possibly can and spin more than twice?
Well, I was, I guess it kind of come from, I was running the Jedi Jam, which is coming back this year, might I add.
I might come to that.
Yeah, it's going to be first weekend of December, and like, because I owe my whole career to kind of going down that path of just wanting to facilitate everyone doing the same thing.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and I did that for 3 years, and I'll be totally honest, after the last year and me walking around that ground with my girlfriend at the time, spending 4 hours picking up all the rubbish, I got over it. I was like, nah, I'm not putting on all this. Like, I mean, obviously I can see how to do it now better, so I don't have to, you know, like...
It's not you personally feeling like everyone disrespected you?
That's exactly how I felt. And I was like, this is dumb. Like, I'm putting on stuff for everybody and they're just like not respecting it. Like, and that year I paid 10 grand for that Jedi Jam. Yeah. Like, out of my own money. Like, I didn't have to do that, but I did because I loved it so much and I knew that money was attainable. Yeah. And then, come 2011, I decided to focus back on myself and do something that no one had done. It was a triple flip. But actually, yeah. So that was that process. But the reason what led to doing the triple flip was that we were in the States qualifying for the Jew Tour. And myself and Dane Seals had a room together, and we did qualifying runs, like to the point like Nasty and Colin McKay and whatnot coming up going, yo, you just made the tour. You know, there's 12 spots out of 50 guys. There was already 18 people in it, and we were vying for that other 12 spots, so it made a 30-person tour. And we were doing runs like we should have made it. And Dane and I are back in the room going, even McKay come up to me after and he's like, they mustn't like you. You know, it's like, well,
Thanks for hearing that.
Yeah, well, what a kick in the ass. We just saved up for 9 months of the year. We just saved up for 9 months to come here for 3 months to crack in.
Yeah.
And we did it, but you're not recognising us. So then Dane and I were like, all right, we have to make these dudes know who we are. And then I'm like, what are you going to, and I was like, what are you going to do, Dane? And he's like, I'm going to make jumps twice this size. Because at the time, the jumps were like 30-foot first set. Dane then went and made the world biggest jumps in the world.
It was an Aussie, yeah.
Giants of Dirt. It was the YouTube video. And he went 60 foot and he flipped it. you know. So I was like, yo, and then he looked at me. So that's what happened after. But then he looked at me in that same period when we were in Baltimore at the Jew Tour, and said, "What are you going to do?" And I was like, I'm going to do a triple flip. And he was like, yo. But I couldn't even double flip at the time. I couldn't even do a double flip at the time. I was like, I'm going to do a triple flip. And that was like 2007, I think, 2008. Yeah, 2008. And then it was only a few years later, like start of 2011, Dane like nailed his Giants of Dirt, and I triple flip.
Did you have access to the Franklin farm at that time? Is that where the practicing went down?
That's where the Franklin farm came about for me. So I got so many octopus, like so many tangents going right now. But no, I got put on it. So that when that came about, was Farm Jam was happening, and I got put on a plane with Franklin because we both rode for Unit.
Oh yeah.
And that was the first time we'd properly been acquainted with each other. You know, like I've obviously been an ex here, and he's always like, yo, Jed. I'm like, yo, Nick, sure. But it was the first time we became like real good friends. And it was through the Christchurch earthquakes, so we actually got bounced around the country. It wasn't a direct flight from Tauranga down there. We got bounced around, so we got really well acquainted with each other, you know?
On the plane.
On the plane, yeah. All right. And then through that journey, I told him about this goal I had. And then he was like, oh, you can use the foam pit. I'm like, yo. And it was 2 weeks after that, we had the scaffold rolling at his house.
Yeah.
That's how quickly that happened.
And for those of you that look at these athletes and see them training in the foam pits, Jed had already done his backflip, tail whips and everything pre-foam pit days.
Into water.
Yeah, into water or onto concrete. There was no like resis or anything. It was...
I could double flip into water before I could do a single flip on land.
Yeah.
So my muscle memories are like pretty calibrated in.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So when it came time to do that, I had no expectations of wanting to do it.
Yeah.
It just came time to do it. Right. Time presented itself, and it was like, yo.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I knew what to do.
Yep. Man, you shook the world when that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking yesterday to the rock guys, and it sparked memories, but Hoffman was actually one of the first people that emailed me.
Really?
Inviting me to America.
We all idolise him. He was
I was like,
for those of you that don't follow BMX, Matt Hoffman pretty much created freestyle BMX.
It's like the Godfather.
Alongside, Godfather between like Bob Harrow and stuff like that. And he's by far the person who went the highest. And to this day, what would he be? Like late 50s now? Or?
No, late 40s, early 50s.
Oh, is he late 40s? But yeah, just still going 30 foot into the air off quarter pipes and stuff. He's a madman.
Yeah.
What a beast. What a cool, all the years of watching videos and we used to, sit in a room and watch our favourite DVDs like on repeat for like 10 hours a day, if it was raining outside. And that's who you were watching, and then you get that phone call.
Yeah, wow. What was it like to get the phone call from him?
Well, it was 6 days later after the triple and I was in America.
Already?
Yeah, like straight. They got me straight over there to qualify for X Games.
Wow.
And then when I did the qualifying, I double flipped the 70 foot. and I didn't even know it was the first ever double flip over 70 foot in the whole world.
Oh,
and
really?
they were just like, who the hell is this guy? I just want to have fun, man.
Is that where your Guinness World Records kind of started and stemmed from?
Well, that was the triple flip, yeah. It was just,
So how many world records do you have?
5 Guinness records, yeah. Could have a lot more, but yeah, Guinness is a business, so you got to pay money to get the records.
Yeah.
There you go, Guinness. Take it.
Not the beer.
Not the beer, no.
Yeah.
I don't drink it anyway. I don't want their sponsorship.
Yeah. Otherwise, we could have had so much more. But it is a real good like video project for companies and people because it really does get attention.
Yeah.
So I normally just do it with people when they're wanting that. Yeah. Otherwise, it's quite a hefty cost. Yeah.
You've made a career out of it, right? So there's got to be money somewhere in the line. And
McDonald's actually paid for the triple flip.
Did they?
McDonald's Topor.
Really?
Yeah.
So they paid for the ramps and everything, or
no, they paid for the Guinness record.
Ah,
yeah.
Is it quite expensive, the record?
It's a little bit. Depends what you're going for. Yeah.
Suppose you could say I'm loving it. No.
My work at the time paid for a lot of it.
Yeah.
MB Centuries.
Yeah.
Geothermal drilling. Unit paid for actually most of it. Actually, Unit pretty much paid for all of it.
Yeah, sure.
And then after when I landed it, then they made me professional. Then they gave me a monthly.
Nice.
Like, yo, I got a monthly paycheck. It was bugger all. It was like 24 grand a year or something, like $2 grand a month.
Yeah.
But hey, it's a start.
That's why you need 5 or 6 sponsors, right?
And then that's what it is. It's just get more and more.
Yeah.
But then Nitro come about, and hell, you don't even need sponsors.
Yeah, how does that conversation happen? Was that after the triple or?
It was after the triple. Well, they came to New Zealand. They actually hit me up to come on the world tour, and I asked for a ridiculous price because I don't want a triple flip again.
Yeah.
So I said, if I'm going to do it on call, I want this much money. And they were like, oh no, you've got an overinflated value of what you think your value is worth. No shit. And I was like, sweet. I'm like, sweet, you can keep it. And anyway, James went and did it for like 10% of what I was asking.
Is this when you had to negotiate to fire breathing instead?
No. Then fast forward 2 years, 2013, they came to New Zealand and they were looking for a New Zealander to join the tour, and I had the credentials to join them. And then after that tour, they were like, whoa. And they were like, no, we'll give you this much money and you can do what you want. So I wasn't tied to like having to do a trick.
That one big trick, yeah.
Yeah, and then when they came here, I did 5 shows, and I think second or third showing, they were like, what's your schedule looking like for the next year? And I was like, kind of freestyling. They're like, well, keep it free.
Yeah.
We're going to need you. We're going to want you. Wow. And then 300 shows later, 10 years later.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what was the first country you went from NZ into Aussie?
Aussie, yeah.
Yeah. Journey.
Aussies love it.
Yeah.
Kiwis, though, are our biggest crowds and our most fanatical crowds, yeah. Yeah,
I wonder
New Zealand
what year it was I
loves
saw
it.
you. What are we now? 22. So it must have been
2022.
Must have been about 15, 16. I must have seen you in Hamilton. That was one of the last times I saw you, but maybe down here at Wheels and Cure when I saw you ride it. But and it's an incredible show for anyone who hasn't gone. You're coming back to
Cure
NZ?
Kids.
Nah, both Cure Kids, but yeah, Nitro.
If the government lets everyone in,
Yeah.
because who knows? I don't know what's happening.
So anyone, just don't vote red. Okay, cool. And we'll move on from that one. Let's get our lives back.
Yeah. I mean, current climate's been pretty cool, really, like for all of the hectic stuff that's happened for a lot of people through these last few years. It's actually been a blessing for myself, like full recalibration, full reroute, and yeah, I couldn't have asked. It couldn't have happened at a more perfect time.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of people don't like lockdown, but I freaking love it.
Yeah.
I love being locked at home, not being able to do it. It's the first time in my life that I've been like made to stay in one spot.
Yeah, not living out of a suitcase.
Yeah. And I was lucky to.
It would have been quite grounding.
It was so grounding, but as well, like I only spent like 2 or 3 nights with my now like epic girlfriend Lynette, and I got sent home from tour 2 weeks early, and she's like, "Oh, where are you going to go?" I don't know. She goes, "We can stay here with me," and then it was like what do they call it? Married at first sight.
Yeah.
Like you don't have a choice. Like you're locked up together now for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, or 2 months.
Yeah.
And then we just became best friends. So
It's so good.
yeah,
Nice
yeah.
to hear that.
It was a great It was epic, perfect.
It's one way to go in the deep end.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
I mean,
you
I
understand people.
was thinking farm. Yeah, I'm going to go to the Franklin farm.
Send it every day.
Yeah, I'm just going to go to Franklin farm and freestyle. This is awesome. And then she's like, "No, stay here." I'm like, I didn't think of that.
Different kind of freestyling.
Okay, I'll stay here. Yeah, let's stay here because it'd be cool to have a friend through lockdown.
Yeah.
And now we're best friends and lovers.
So good, man. We're happy to hear that. We've both got some pretty good ladies beside us. And
Cool.
Yeah, it's important to have that kind of connection and that partner.
Well, it's your other half essentially.
Yeah.
so they say. So they
Yeah,
say.
cliche as, but it is like they only like a good woman will make you better. It's not like you're 1 and 1 equals 2. It's actually like synergy.
It's
like you
multiply.
become 3 or 4
Yes.
when you're in your output and
Multiplying.
you multiply.
Yeah.
Synergy.
And then you multiply. Then it's heaps.
Well, have you got kids?
Yeah, 3.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, so it's 6,
Oh, wow.
3, and almost 2, and they're awesome.
Well, how old are you now? How old are you?
35.
So, mate.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
Oh, cool.
just similar things,
Cool.
but different paths. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wow. I love children. Don't really want them. But like, I feel like for myself. But I mean, if I have them, I'm gonna look after them.
Yeah,
you know. But I'm like stoked to be 35 and not have them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
I don't know if it's selfish or not, but yeah.
Well, not really.
Well, you're a professional fun haver, so it's
Yeah.
pretty hard to do that and not be selfish with your time. Like comment you made earlier, when you're overseas, well, you're used to it. It's part of your life, and you can't do that with kids.
No. And I admire the people and the families that do on tour, because I think it would be really hard, you know, because there's a lot of family men on tour, Nitro tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, that's going to be hard. Yeah. I mean, we don't really think about it. You don't overthink it, but it is something that does cross your mind now and then.
Yeah, it's a different factor, eh? Definitely will be.
I liken it to a heavy transport. So I've said it a couple of podcasts ago, so sorry for repeating myself, listeners, but these guys work 70 hours a week in their truck. And I've had a number of operators come to me and say, oh, my kids are leaving home next week and I don't actually know them, you know, because now they're 18, but they've been working 70 hours, 6 days a week, and on their day off they wash their truck, and they might have 4 or 5 hours at home and they're tired, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a sad existence.
Well, it's the unfortunate, like, realm of life, like the perception of life. It's like work hard to save, to retire, to die.
Well, technically, you're doing exactly the goals I have for my own children, personally. So my own goals, and I've said it previously on podcasts, I just want them to be happy in whatever they're choosing, and it's actually legit, whatever they choose to do. And so I think it's very cool, and it's important to see for younger people that if you've got a goal, and just because it doesn't fit the general status quo norm, as long as you're A, having fun, B, being a good person, what else does it matter?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So hats off, even though I'm not wearing a hat. You know?
I love the the mind, body, soul connection saying.
Yeah.
Like I always think of the mind, you need to always be learning something, moving forward in that part. And then the body, like look after your body, like in terms of like health and, you know, I mean, we're drinking now, but I'm sure we don't drink every day, all day, every day. It's like something that we do, and it's the only legal vice they've given us. And the soul, I think the soul's the most important part that's like looked over, and that's love. Like, what do you love to do?
Yes.
You know, like, and that's, I'm grateful to have found that. And freestyle, and it's not just freestyle BMX, it's freestyle in general. Like,
Yeah, your life.
I just made a hut the other day at home. It's so cool. It's so cool. And we've spent more time in the hut than we have in the house since I made it.
Yeah.
I mean, I say the other day, but like half a year ago.
So it's called the Love Shack, or
No, it's called the Zen Den.
the Zen?
Cool, even better.
It looks out over the Kaimai. It's like over to Matua and over the water. It's like so precious.
So you're out at motorways. I've seen your videos and tried
Yeah.
to pick. You can see the estuary and stuff there, but
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah. Can't remember
Oh,
how it started. But
Glad to see you looking happy anyway, mate, after all these years.
It's almost like you remember the kind of feelings when you're younger and you kind of make one of the forts and the feelings that has. It's kind of the same thing. It's so cool.
Well, yeah, that's like I was saying that before, like the whole not growing up thing. Like you want to make huts and dirt bomb wars and jump kids in the neighborhood. Like
Oh, so
I remember
good.
being 14 to 17, I just want to do this forever. Yeah, and lo and behold, like, man, became a professional BMXer. And it facilitated. It was able to cater for that. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely a mindset, just being young at heart.
Because we've got the Franklin farm too, so that's like our ultimate tree hut. No shit. I've like nearly spent all my career on that. Like everything I made, yeah.
So what's on the Franklin farm for those that don't know?
It's the biggest private action sports facility in the Southern Hemisphere.
Wow.
Yeah, biggest foam pit in the Southern Hemisphere.
Wow.
So a foam pit's like a pit full of foam that you learn your tricks.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just real special.
And
And we've
so
got a neat community.
40-foot containers as run-ins.
Yeah, from the arena. From the arena
Is that where they were
disaster.
from?
Yeah.
Managed to pick those up cheap.
Yeah, well, I had a vision of, I'm just going to spend, I just want to spend $5,000 on these containers delivered, 3 of them. And I got them for 6, first phone call. So I'm like, well, it's close. I'll take that. But that's a whole nother story altogether. So at the time, I'd just been sponsored by Skinny Mobile.
Oh, yeah.
And they gave me and I went to them saying I wanted to do the tower project. And then they ended up giving me my whole yearly salary at once, which was $21,000.
that's
And I
dangerous.
spent it in 8 days.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
And I went back to zero. Like I had 21 grand in my bank and I'm in this crossroad of like, am I meant to buy a house? Like, am I meant to do this? Like, am I meant to do all those things that are perceived of life? I'm like, nah, because I've got a sticker on my helmet. If I build this rolling, I've got that forever. Like, yeah, I'm going to spend it on a towel. I'm going to spend it on rolling. Yeah, so there's just all those types of decisions and that we get to make for our life, like that you need to weigh up. And I don't know, the more you can feel what's right rather than think what's right. See, my brain kicked in and it was like, oh no, I should buy a house with this money. And then my stomach kicked in, which is the other brain in the body, you know. And then
health,
yeah, and I'm like, because that's the feeling, you know, and that's the ethical part is your stomach. And that's the one going, nah, do what you love, mate. Go build yourself a tower. Yeah. So I spent 21 grand in 8 days and I was back to zero. Little behold, I learnt the trick because the whole catalyst for building them was Nitro was coming in 2 weeks. So we built them in 8 days and I had one afternoon to do the trick I wanted to learn. And I learnt it.
What was that trick?
Double backflip tail whip. And then I got the Nitro New Zealand tour and in the last show I landed it and that's what got me the world tour. So that all that 21 grand came back instantly.
Yeah, straight away.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I was like, oh my God, if I just keep reinvesting into myself and my sport, I'm going to always get back and it just keeps coming back.
And I believe the same for charity and stuff like that. There's been times I've given a charity and then the next phone call is like a massive deal I've been trying to close for 3 months or something. It just happens. I'm like...
You've got to give to receive.
100%.
Yeah. Mega. It's being said by all our forefathers forever. Like, we don't need to reinvent no wheels. They know how the quantum realm or whatever the hell you want to believe in exists.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
It's definitely one of those things when you realize and you're not limited to lost opportunities by holding on to things, you'll see the opportunities present themselves in exactly like that situation where you're like, oh, actually, and then it's got the other aspect too of actually, you know what, I could have looked back and I not did that opportunity, and guess what? You didn't have that opportunity. You'd be like, what if I did do something else? You'd always have that what if there as well, which is cool that you didn't. You don't seem to be living like that at all. Like, actually, no, what sits well with me? Let's do that. Yeah.
Well, money's attainable, eh?
Yeah. Oh, it's true, and it goes around. It's easy to get if you've got that kind of mindset of abundance. Guess what? It comes back.
Yeah.
The funny thing with money is there's more money on earth than there's ever been after the last 2 years. All I've done is print money.
Print more.
Print
Where
money.
did the 70 billion come from into our climate? Here's where you pay it back. Cheese is this much more, milk's this much more, bread's this much more.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys didn't think of that one.
But the money is there for someone to grab. And unfortunately, people that aren't smart with money, it touches their hands and disappears very quickly.
Yeah.
And then it ends up in people who invest with the investing mindset generally. And this is how we got the greatest wealth divide of all time happening at the moment, because they create so much wealth. It's just transferred hands. And it's, it is going to make things tough for a lot of people.
And there also is 7,000 million people on the planet. Not everyone can be rich.
Not 7 billion, 7,000 million.
7,000 million. I love
Heading
it.
towards 8.
Because 7 billion is like one thing, but if you say 7,000 million, so puts it in perspective.
Yeah.
Whereas only, 5 million people in this country. So it's not even 0.1% of the world's population.
Yeah, we're tiny.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the reason we made this podcast, because a lot of the podcasts that people listen to out there are surrounded by populations. If you're in America, there's 800 million or whatever the population is over there.
330, I think.
330, there you go. China's 1 billion, whatever. These populations, when you hear these stories on podcasts, they're super motivational, but that doesn't relate to someone in a town with 200,000 or maybe 40,000 for the average Kiwi. But some of the stories we'll tell on here are Kiwis, and where they've come from, hopefully will inspire those to maybe give that thing a go.
Well, there's heaps of epic Kiwis, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Like, man, Kiwis are like Rutherford and Hillary and lots of epicness come out of this country. Like, and how? What?
Well, even when you think about the actual logistics as well, you're like, actually, I've been the first person to land this trick that nobody in the world has ever been able to achieve before this instance. You can sit back and you're like, actually, wow.
And I think as
well. Do you do
that? Yeah, but I think, why?
Yeah.
Why did no one do it?
Yeah.
How come you guys didn't see that?
Well,
Why am I the first out of 7,000 million people to see that?
But this comes down to like progression, and then
Yeah.
it's also obviously you've had a history of self-belief going through from it, even from being younger, when you're like, actually, I'm not allowed to ride my bike, and I'm meant to be going down the rugby route. I'm going to actually take the opportunity to, hey, where can I'll catch the bus to go back down to Taupo to, a lot of people wouldn't do that. So it's got to come from, so you must have had pretty supportive parents.
The whole time you were saying that, I was like, my parents.
Yeah.
It always, you are a product of your parents and your environment.
Your parents are awesome too, yeah. They were so good. I was actually just telling Gabs before you showed up about your 21st, and I was like, to this day, it's the best 21st speech I've ever witnessed.
My mum?
No, your dad, your uncle, was it, when your dad's doing it all a Māori, and then he's like...
Got up with the knife.
Yeah, got up with the knife, and then he's like, all you young fellas, bring us all your women. And
But how's my mum's speech? My mum's like, so Jed learnt to walk, and we never saw him again, and walked off.
That's an Australian way, you go walkabout.
Okay, then.
I get it. Sorry, mum.
That was the drop mic moment before the drop mic moment was
Even a thing.
No, but definitely your environment. Got to owe that.
Yeah.
Owe a lot of your things to that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So are you the oldest out of your siblings?
6, yeah.
Yeah. And what do they do? What do they keep busy
I actually
with?
just went to South Island last weekend and to visit my little brothers.
Yeah.
Which was so cool because it's I felt it's the first time I've connected properly with my little brother Mutu. He's been out of home for 2 years, and kind of, as he says, wiping his own ass. And it was so cool.
Yeah.
We were like best friends. But yeah, Hemi and I have always had a solid relationship. But Mutu and I have a good relationship.
What's the age spread?
24 is the youngest, which is Mutu, which means finished in Māori.
Yep.
And then Hemi.
No more.
Yeah. Hemi's 20. Sorry, Hemi, I think you're 28, 29. And the twins are 30, twin sisters. And Harriet's 33 or 34.
Yeah, cool.
And all the girls have got daughters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Which is cool. So I've got nieces.
lots of nieces.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why you like children.
Yeah. Oh,
Anyway.
well, I grew up as an elder, so I had younger brothers and sisters
Yep.
and nappies all the time.
Yep. Yeah, it astounds me when I hear people and or even some males as well. I've never changed a nappy in my life. Like it's a badge of honor. I'm like scratching my head like, what the fuck?
A real coming of age story.
It's like I would say that's the opposite. Actually, you grow a lot.
Well, it's funny that because when we were on tour, this one time we're on these sleeper buses and the toilet clogged up and blocked over and just started filling out. Who cleaned it? One of the dads. Cam Sinclair rolled in. He's like, clean my baby's nappies. There's no problem. A bit of piss.
Get it
I
done.
don't think of
No plunger, just a hand.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm going to clean my baby's nappies all the time. All good. Yeah.
Teaches you life lessons, obviously.
Yeah.
How good. So, how many countries? You've travelled a lot. How many countries?
I reckon about, we got all the main ones, so I reckon about less than 20.
Less than 20? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And
Yeah.
and any idea on how many shows?
Over 300.
300 shows.
Just for Nitro.
Yeah.
Then there's all the other companies too.
Yeah, sure.
And then we've got our own one here that we're kind of focusing on now. So,
Yeah.
So what's that show you're focusing on at the moment?
well, it's just stuff. We've never really branded the actual show because it's always been shows within the trade shows. We've contracted to them. But I suppose it's Franklin Farm Live
Yeah.
or Jedi Jam Live or something. Don't know.
So you and Franklin doing it together?
Oh, no, well, they're the Moto boys. I do the mega ramp, and Langlands does the small ramp. So we all just privately contract, but then we collaborate together.
Okay.
Yeah. Then the Harley boys come in.
Do a burnout on the side and
Yeah.
hit the rev limiter?
Yeah, but there's lots of potential. It's just bringing it all together and
So is this the wheels for like the one you do? Sorry,
well, no, Cure Kit. The Cure Kids is just something random aside as well. Okay. Like that was something Luke Price and Kelly Price set up with Cam from World's M.
Yeah, Cam's a good bugger.
Yeah, super good. But he was basically saying, he was saying, and it happened.
Yeah.
I didn't go there.
He's a doer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we basically made a club, which is Pure Freestyle Community Foundation Limited. Okay. So it's a charitable trust, and then we raise money through that gig for Cure Kids. Hence, it's the Wheels for Cure Kids. I think we're over $100,000.
So is there anything in that for yourself, or it's all charity? Because that's
it's all charity.
A lot of time and effort goes into that.
Somewhat, but we get out of it from well-being because we get to kick it together. We get to hang out together. We get to bring everyone together. And we get to do what we all love to do, party.
Yeah.
So
basically have a big play with your mates.
And then play and then make people happy.
Yeah.
Because essentially, at the end of the day, that's why we do this, is like to make people go well.
Yeah. Show them what's impossible is actually possible. I'm possible. So you got some crazy stories. I heard a little bit of something on the radio the other day. Like, what? It doesn't have to be that story, but all that traveling and different people you met. Like, is there anything you want to share that? Because I'm sure I'd love to hear it, and I haven't heard it.
Well, one that I thought after the one I said yesterday about the Saudi story on the Rock. We actually went to the O2 Arena in London and did these shows there. And when Michael Jackson died, he was actually meant to be doing like every day or every weekend. I can't quite remember. I'm sure it was he was going to do 365 shows through the year, every day. Yeah. He was going to do shows in the O2. And they made him a special room. And somehow we found the room and how to get into it. And it had trapdoors and shit like out to the back and like, you like pulled someone must have got the inside info off the people from the stadium because they knew what to do. But you like pull books back and then a door opens and then you go into this special room and you push a part of the mirror, then the other door opens and then it's like you're in the back room and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're definitely not in action sports by following the rules all your life, you know.
Yeah, well, because a lot of the tour we've done. We're doing sleeper buses on the hectic tours. They're pretty wild. So, and we always wait for the track crew to pack down before we leave. Yep. So obviously after a show, there's a bit of downtime that you can go exploring. So.
Yeah.
I found Michael Jackson's secret room.
How good. How long after this was it that he had passed, is it?
It was recent. Like this was like this was like I can't remember how long ago it was.
I remember my older brother had tickets to go to the O2 the concert, and so much so he had to I don't know if he got refunded, but he couldn't go. Obviously, but it was obviously well in the making. So it's a pretty cool story, actually.
Yeah, and I love going to Africa. South Africa is so cool.
South Africa itself,
yeah. South Africa's beautiful.
Everyone, I've got a few South African mates and customers that keep threatening to take me there. They're like, you've got to come.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And then we went out to Mozambique because I was on the filming crew for Nitro as well, did all the MTV stuff. Yep. So I got to stay behind after tour and do all like the hectic stuff.
The TV stuff,
Yeah, TV stuff that civilians don't get to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just super humbling. Like in pens with 1-2-year-old tigers and lions, and they're scratching you, trying to eat you, but they can't do it because they're too small. And you're like, well, but they let us in there anyway.
They'd still be sharp though.
Oh yeah, drawing blood. Everyone had blood coming out of them. Oh yeah, we all have blood. Yeah, they latch on. They're latched on.
Yeah,
but they're like, go on there. They're not going to kill you, but have fun. Or darting. We darted a rhino out of a helicopter once and then tagged it, and because the rhino horn's apparently like an aphrodisiac or something on the black market, and they're just like rhinos are getting like just their horns, the nose chopped off and left to do their thing. It's pretty ruthless. Humans are ruthless.
So you tagged it so that wasn't happening.
Took samples and tagged it to keep an eye on it, and then went into this other enclosure and darted a lion to same thing, heal it, had different things, but to be sitting by a lion, like everyone else doing their thing. I'm putting my fingers up his nose. Like, whoa, how can I put so many fingers in this guy's nose? Like, what's in his mouth? Like, this guy's epic. Like, man, he could just chomp my hand off right
Just
now.
as he wakes up, yeah.
Yeah. But then, like, when we, like, for example, when we darted them, or I didn't dart them, the darter guy darted them. When he darted them,
It's a lot of data.
A dart. When he darted them, the noise of all the lions was just like, whoa.
They're not happy, yeah?
This is in your soul, roaring, rumbling. Yeah, just like things like that. There's a magnitude of the different experiences like that Nitro have given me. But yeah, super grateful. Definitely felt like I grew up real quick on the circus just from life experience on the road and different things, different encounters. Like, yeah.
Would you say it's much like a normal circus in the runnings, even though it's not like a circus, but it's similar to like a circus kind of traveling setup?
I guess somewhat, yeah. Yeah.
You're involved in setting the ramps up, or there's a whole crew for that? You guys just show up to ride?
That's the track crew. They're called the track crew, yeah.
So they know how many feet and everything. They measure all out to the specifics.
Yeah, and then we've got paperwork we signed before to say it was set up right. So it's
so you
still
go
up,
and
it's
remeasure
still
it
up,
yourself?
well, if we don't trust in them, yeah, we do that. But I've never had to do that.
If you're flying over on an armchair and you miss, bounce off the side of the ramp,
Yeah,
which has happened.
yeah. No, I let go of my steering wheel.
Oh, has it got a steering wheel?
That was the first show in 5 months. So like full brain farted on how to do it. That's why that happened.
Ragdolled yourself onto the ground?
Yeah, internal trauma for like 5 months. It was hectic.
Oh.
But I didn't get knocked out. Didn't break anything.
Yeah, I was wondering that because, I mean, I've had like 3 surgeries from broken bones over the years and I've not really seen it at all. So what's your bone count?
No, not much. Less than 10.
Yeah.
Like broken.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'd say less than 10.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know.
Which is fine. Fine for what you're doing. Incredible.
Well, just playing to your strengths, really. Not trying to. And then the self-preservation's always there too, so you're not trying to do something. You know, you don't go putting the one foot in front of the other if you're not quite sure.
Yeah, you build up to it.
You need to know what you're doing.
Well, it's often the case you're not just going to do it and hope you're going to land it.
No hope.
You're doing it with a firm, solid belief that you're actually going to land it. And obviously the solid belief comes from the knowledge and application of the skill.
And the practice.
And the practice.
Yeah.
You know?
And we've got foam pits and airbags, so you can practice these things. It's just when it comes time, all right, you know what to do, go. Yeah. And then I always get this overwhelmed, like this neat feeling of like, yeah, this is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, without overthinking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Gabriel doesn't, I'm not sure if Gabriel knows, and most of the people listening probably don't know, but after the triple flip, Nitro put on a little bit of a head-to-head to see who
I fabricated all that.
You fabricated it?
Yeah, that was all me.
So he decided 3 flips wasn't enough, so we might as well do 4.
Yeah.
And who were you against again?
Foster.
Yeah.
And actually he was doing the triple at the time too.
Yeah, and the
You've
shows,
seen the doco. No, he was going for it in real time. And I knew he was because I had friends on the tour.
Yeah.
And so I put this triple flip like 4 days before Nitro were going to do it and beat them.
Ah.
Yeah, that's
Same
what
time.
happened.
So you guys have been comping it out.
Have you seen? There's actually a documentary called Revolution Day.
That might have been the one I watched on, was it on Air New Zealand for a while?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it on the flight.
It shows.
I was like, there's the bro.
That was buzzy on Air New Zealand, eh?
You know you've cracked it.
I couldn't believe that. Whoa, I'm on Air New Zealand.
Have they ever approached you for sponsorship?
I got actually a flight to America in the early days from Air New Zealand.
Yeah.
Because you've got about as much airtime as them.
Wait, push the button.
That's more this button, honestly. It's that button.
You're just like, oh my God.
He's like, kill me now. I can tell you've been a father for a number of years.
I'm just going to do the Houdini. Smoke mirrors.
What?
That's all right, we're all here to have beers. Yeah, so the quad was mad. Did that change your career at all, or was it just sort of fit into what was happening at the time? And
Yeah, it
was just part of everyday life at that stage.
Well, it was the same as what you were saying before. Like you'd probably have regrets if you knew something was possible and you didn't venture down that route.
Mm-hmm.
It was no different to that. Like I knew that it was possible, just like a triple flip. So it's just a classic case of venturing down that route to see. And you know what? Like there's been a lot of things I've ventured down routes and I'm not capable and I'm not intelligent enough to do it.
Well, not necessarily even.
But as long as I learnt and I know that I'm not capable, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Not knowing that and not being able to do that.
Well, just for example, like if people aren't aware of you, you are quite a big, taller action sports person. So your biomechanics is going to be different. So everybody's body is going to be capable of achieving different things just because of how their biomechanics is. It's just one of those things. You can't change that, but as long as you're pushing your own body to your personal limits, which you've clearly shown, it's pretty huge. Because a lot of people don't factor in how their body's made up. Like, say for example,
Everyone's different, eh?
Everybody's different. Not everybody should be doing the same thing.
Yeah,
Nor can
totally.
they do the same thing.
That's defining your strengths and playing to them.
Yeah.
Analogy.
Yeah, 100%. I fully agree with that in entirety. Yeah, because sorry.
Oh, I'm just saying, I'm not going to go be like a mathematician or something, or or a politician or something. You know what I mean? That's not my strengths.
Well, to be honest, you're quite nice. I think you'd be quite better than a lot of the politicians out there, but debatable.
I shouldn't have said politicians.
So would a front door mat.
Okay, I'm not going to go be a financial advisor because that's not my strengths. Like you, Jason.
It wasn't mine either, mate. I just found my way into it.
As we all do. With our things,
Yeah.
Like our strengths become evident the more you just live in flow state. One step in front of the other, and
I've rebranded myself a few times, and it keeps happening, and it will continue to happen. I wasn't a podcast host 2 months ago. Now here we are.
So I've got a question. So with regards to it's a two-part question. What's your favourite trick that you just absolutely love the flow of?
360.
360. And then what's your trick that you just love, you're very proud of?
360. No, so 360 has been the trick that hooked me on the sport, and I still get mega kicks from it. That's I love 360s.
Yeah.
You can do them any which way.
Yeah.
It's like anyone in the sport, generally, the stuff we are always most impressed by is like a tabletop, which is inverted, or a turn down, or a 360. Like it's like, wow, that guy just did a quad flip, and that's fucking mind blowing to everyone still.
And it's a vertical 1440. Backflips are still 360s.
Yeah.
That is vertical 360s.
Yeah. But
it's quite funny because it tends to be one of the first tricks you learn. After like the no footer or no hander or anything like that, you start to get the rotations in with the BMX, and that's often one of the first tricks that would be quite inspiring to the little kids. Actually, you know what?
Well, the first time I did a 360, I no shit thought I was the only person in the whole world that could do it.
Wow.
And then my friend took me to the skate park, and there was guys 360. It was Phil Irwin and Dave Manconi.
Oh, Manconi.
And
what age were you then?
And Grubb and Jason Harris.
Really?
No shit, at Topol Skate Park.
Oh, they were the ones doing all the tricks.
They were at Topol Skate Park, and I didn't even know the sport. It was a sport.
Yeah.
And my friend Chris Quinn took me up there, like, yo, come. Like, there's other people doing this.
I'd have been knocking around with those guys before meeting you, because I was probably...
And I was like, what the hell? I was like 14 or 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be about right. Similar era. Yeah.
And then I was like, this is real. And then I met Sam Callahan, and he's like, yo, do you know, come watch
him and stuff.
No, well, at the same day, and he's like, yo, we got Miracle Boy and Nyquist DVD, come watch it, or cassette tape.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, what? Who's Mirror? Like, oh, you need to come watch this DVD, or this cassette tape. And we watch it, I'm like, oh my God, this is something, this is a sport, and that's where BMX sparked for me.
Yeah. That was a similar era that actually Nyquist and Mirror were coming in NZ with Haro. Like Ash was bringing them in. Would have only been a couple of years apart, or...
No, it was around that time because I didn't know them because I wasn't riding then. I wasn't passionate about it then. So
but you could already do a 360.
Well, I thought it was the only one in the world doing it. And then, they came through that time, but I wasn't into it, so I didn't know.
So how did you get your first bike?
Mowing the lawns and doing dishes.
Yeah. and just saved up and got one. And I remember back, we were the same age, but I remember my twin and I were into BMXing at the same time.
Twin?
Yeah. So guess what
he's got a doppelganger.
Cool.
So we were both into BMX at the same time, and I remember just trying to get our first bike, and it was like they had the single piece crank which we could afford, or it had the 3-piece crank. That's what I had too.
Diamondback Viper.
Yeah. So
full chrome.
I had the Milazzo, the cheaper one.
Mine was $400 by memory.
Yeah. I think ours was $350, but it was interesting just kind of seeing the things you can do and the spark that's created.
My BMX now is probably like $4,000.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, really?
So what brand?
Full titanium, full custom, full
Tie
titanium.
now.
Well, I make tie ones, yeah.
What's happened to Chrome Ollie, mate? Too heavy or
No, I've got a chrome Ollie bike, but tie is just wow.
stiffer?
It's just half the weight.
Yeah.
My bike's like 8 kilos or something.
Yeah, nice.
It's like I've got a prop under me, not a bike.
I still remember getting one of your old frames that was like half twisted, and I rode it for years. It's a really nice bike. No, I don't have a bike at the moment. Yeah. I need another 20-inch. It does, like, because it was such a big part of my life, I feel like it still needs to hang on the wall, even if I only do a 360 off a curb or something. I'd still like to have a go at it.
You could fully hit the airbag in the backyard. I've got a mega ramp in the backyard.
I've seen.
Now?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
With an air mattress.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then the neighbours lent me the backyard.
What do they just sit out there with cheese and crackers and a wine and watch you just send it?
No, it's actually a real talented guy's here, parents, Roydon White. He's a moto racer.
Oh, yeah.
He's a bit past the career now, but that's how we became acquainted. I seen the trailer and I'm like, that's like a hard out race trailer. Like, who's this guy? And then I looked him up, found him. I'm like, Roydon, I live next door to your parents. Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then fast forward a year or two, I was like, can I borrow the backyard?
Yeah. I see you're not doing much down there.
Yeah. So
do you roll in from your property, but it crosses into theirs or something? Or
the whole landing's in their property.
Yeah. Wow. But the takeoff's in yours.
Yeah. They're so cool.
Yeah.
And then, we just help each other as much as we can. Get the mabos and whatnot.
Community. Love it.
Yeah, you need a good neighbourhood. And we've got an epic neighbourhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
In general, like physically, location and
Yeah.
Central. Yeah.
That's why I really like it here. Like, we've got this thing, like, at the practice, we've got lots of people that have grow avos or kiwi fruits.
Contras.
And no, it's not.
Not even
that.
contras, they just give.
No, they're not even conscious. They give it, and then what we do, instead of us just take it, we put it there for everybody to take, and they all just take it, and it's awesome, and it's cool. It's cool about the community that you grow in, that's your surrounding.
Yeah.
It's good, eh?
Wicked, and like those types of people, always giving, and like the likes of yourself, then giving it for everyone. It all like has, it's like the energy pool, You give and take, like reciprocal.
Yeah,
reciprocal. So
sometimes you might touch. Yeah, sometimes you might touch that person that's always maybe had a greed mindset, or the world's against me, and they get given that one thing, and actually you might switch their mindset to maybe the world's not that bad, and when they see someone that falls over on the stairs or something, they might help them back up. Like the small changes, there is a big flow-on effect from it.
There's a lot of conditioning at the moment, and ancestral DNA conditioning to who we are, I feel.
Well, I've had so many people when they first come into the practice and they've been like really off the energy, and then once they're in, then you're like, man, they're in a bad place. And then you just see them warm and change with just being treated differently, and love, and care and compassion and all those little things that they've needed but haven't received through whatever realm. And it's like, wow, but that's where it comes down to. It's got a lot of conditioning and patterns. So hence the reason why I went back to your parents as well, because it's self-belief. Yeah, it's cool. So if we've got this thing that we really love to ask and everybody. So is there any advice? You seem to have really kind of lived life to your full with zero regrets, but is there any advice you'd give your younger self, no matter what advice it'd be, knowing what you know now?
Like 18-year-old Jed or something, or
Lynette, my partner, has Buddhas around the house type thing and in the garden, and her philosophy is, her idea of what Buddha's saying to you is, just be a good cunt.
Yeah.
I don't know if I need to have given myself that advice at 18, but I think just anyone, just adopt that, like just be good.
Yeah.
Be good and be good to yourself and be good to others, yeah, really.
my entire career has been built around be the guy that someone wants to have a beer with on a Friday afternoon.
Wicked.
So I really appreciate that you're here on a Friday afternoon having a beer with us. But the job opportunity that has come along, and I told Anna when I left home today, I was like, hey, babe, I'm seeing Jed, haven't seen him for a while. I don't know. I may see you before dark, you know? I don't know. I never know where a Friday's going to take me because there's always someone around town and on tangents, especially when you've got an office here, I'm going, poop, poop. I'll be sitting there and someone's like, okay, we're off. And then someone else walks in. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen you for like 3 weeks. What have you guys been up to? And you just end up in this, you know?
Yeah.
The energy just kind of directs to me. But I've built a whole career off it. And it's, I say like, you can be the smartest person in the world and you can sit down in the business and go for a job interview and people will go, oh man, that was a hard conversation. I don't know if I could work with that every week. And you sit there and you might be adequate at the job, but you have them in laughter and they're like, oh yeah, that guy's a good fit.
Yeah.
You know, there's certain opportunities that come through from just being a good person, having laughter, a sense of humour and all those things, you know. So, yeah, I love that.
Oh, I like that as well. Careful what you wish for. Because it, you know, and focus on the do's, not the don'ts, because the universe doesn't recognise the do or don't. They're just recognising what you want, whether it's a not or do.
Look, I'm guilty for that at the moment, right? A couple of months ago, I was like, man, I'm so busy, I can't keep up. My phone didn't stop ringing. I've been like, oh, it's been a little bit quiet lately. And I even said it earlier. I'm like, I've got to stop with that mindset because the phone's quiet, you know, everything attracts to you in a different way.
I've experienced that with pains, like hurting myself. And like one time, the couch crash you mentioned earlier, I was 4 months of internal trauma. Like, I mean, to the point, I rode the show the next weekend. And they thought I was retarded. And I'm like, oh, I got it. It was the most excruciating thing. But I experienced internal trauma for 4 months. And I got to the point, I was like, shit, I'm doing this to myself. I think I'm identifying myself as an internal trauma victim. Okay, it's gone. Like this one night, I was like, it's gone. Leave me alone. Get out. I woke up the next morning sweet.
Well,
and
I
cliche, but...
No, not cliche, because this is what the body does. So if I scratch you on the hand, okay, your awareness is going to go to that because it's your greatest awareness. Now, if I scratch you on the knee, your attention is now going to go to your knee. You've now forgotten about that scratch on the hand. So if you're trying to chase something in the body, it's going to actually create awareness there. But if instead of you going, actually, I'm doing a sport, yeah, guess what? This is telling my body that I'm growing and I'm pushing my body to the limits. It's not finding something that's wrong. It's just like taking it as how it is, and it sees it, takes it, that's it. And yeah.
Same buzz.
So
is that fascial? Is that fascia?
It's everything. It's
do you work with the fascial system?
Yeah.
Because I love it. Like, you can put your hand in front. Like, you probably know this anyway. You put your hand in front of you, put your mind into your hand. It starts buzzing. I can do it through my whole body. Like, oh, my whole body's buzzing now.
Yeah.
But like that's just like, yeah, that's consciousness. Eh?
Yeah.
The connective tissue between the muscles and the skin.
Yeah, and lots that you can't explain. The mind-body connection. Well, can't explain quotations, but. The science hasn't caught up.
Science can't explain, yeah.
Can't explain.
Because I actually do martial arts as well, and we train in the fascial system.
Yeah, beautiful. What kind of martial arts?
So my friend has 10 black belts and 10 martial arts. He's 64 years old. Ian Waite, actually Dr. Ian Waite, because the new martial art he teaches us is his own martial art. because he's done 10 martial arts, but they're all 8th to 10th done. So he's not just one black belt, he's 8th to 10 time black belt in all these martial arts. So he culminated his own one, which is called the Dow Shield.
Yeah, cool.
We train in Hamilton, I haven't been for a little while, but I'm actually going for my second dan now. But
Awesome.
And we fast track it by going primary, trainer and observer. And that's why I think action sports are progressing so much now, because we actually have a lot of observing. We can, like when we see it happen and we can see it done, we can do it. And we've got the...
What's that belief system of being able to do it? Oh, it's achievable. And then that's how even the triple flip with the guy, he landed it a few days after you, and often hasn't been done for how many years, and then all of a sudden...
And that's why I have a career. Like, I could do what everyone else did, but I'm doing these things that you're recreating things. Only, like, not many, but, it was enough to, Yeah.
Is there any trick that you've got in your plan that you still kind of would love to land or love to achieve or do?
No more reinventing wheels for me.
I saw the bike flip the other day, and that
was ages ago.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
That was like 5 years ago.
Yeah. But after squashing your nuts, no more.
That was full smoke and mirrors. I didn't squash my nuts. I just thought it'd be a cool story.
Gotcha.
And don't believe everything you see on Instagram, people.
Gotcha.
It sounded cool.
Looked it.
Yeah. Well,
I saw you've got your feet down, but man, you would have been close because you're coming down with a lot of speed and pace at that kind of rotation. And
yeah. No, I was playing them with them for a bit, but
yeah. Oh, it's so
weird trick, eh? It works.
Yeah, we all grew up with like Tony Hawk skateboarding, or was it Dave Mirra BMX, like these games, and we're like,
and TJ11,
and we're like, this shit isn't possible, and now like literally Jed's done it, that and Jed's not the most technical rider in the world. Jed's burly rider.
Did you know you couldn't quad flip on Dave Mirra?
Yeah, well there you go. You broke a game.
You could only just get triples when you're like mega boost, and you had to go double to single. You couldn't get quad.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. You broke a video game. You broke the mold. What's available?
Funny.
You've clocked the game.
Funny.
So on that note, we'd love to thank you so much for your time, mate. It was absolutely awesome having the space for you to come and share, and hopefully, well, I'm sure if somebody's listening will get inspired in some way, even if they just live life to their full potential.
Sure.
Yeah, so thank you.
You're welcome. And just back to that goal thing.
Yeah.
One more trick. I'm still going to ride my bike on the moon.
Yeah,
that's my ultimate goal. I've had that goal from 2009.
Yeah.
I wrote this. They did this interview one day, and I had yet to finish it. And I said, one day I'll triple flip and ride my bike on the moon.
Elon Musk, I know you're listening. We need some sponsorship here to get Jed to the moon.
I want to do a moon backflip. I would love to.
Yeah. Red Bull.
You might not come back down to the moon, but how good. Oh, well, thanks for joining us, mate. Really appreciate it. It's been far too long between drinks, and hopefully we don't just cap off the beer here. We'll have a couple more afterwards.
Sure. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you.